Hello everybody, and welcome to Twitch Tales Halloween Special 2023. Today's episode, as it is a one-off Halloween special, will be a little bit more intense than many of the scenes of Twitch Tales normally is allowed to get. There is more possibility of distressing scenes. So make sure to take care of yourselves. If this is something that is a little too much for you, feel free to step away. Take care of yourselves and happy Halloween. Thump, 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 thump. The rhythmic pounding of the blood in your ears is coupled with the rhythmic pounding of your feet on the ground as you run, terrified through this forest. You're not sure if what you're running from is a creature or some kind of monstrous human. You're not even sure how far back it is, but you know that it's there and you know that it's coming. The pain in your legs and the pain in your chest is almost enough to stop. But, as you tell yourself, the pain of whatever comes if you stop could be far worse. So what do you do? What do you want to do, everybody? This is your character. Keep running, hide, run some more. Look behind us, find a tree to climb. Keep running, keep running, keep running. With a perception check to see if you can find the thing that is running, thing that is chasing you. That is a 19 on the dice. And with a 19, you can tell that the thing's steps are getting closer. They seem to be singular footprints, singular footfalls on each thump through the crunching undergrowth. It is winter time. It is Bid Colabran, the 2-week season at the end of the year, the 2-week month at the end of the year, in reference to the god Kolak, the god of desecration, disease, and famine. It is a 2-week period when people pay reverence to Kolak so that he is satiated for the rest of the year. It is the worst month of the year for many people, deliberately starving themselves and giving up on certain creature comforts, such that Kolak may leave them alone the rest of the year. So it is cold, it is dark, it is grey, and the ground is crunching with frost in the middle of the night. But the crunching helps you to determine that the thing chasing you is probably bipedal, and roughly of the same weight as a human. With an athletics check, 18, you keep running. You keep pushing yourself beyond the limits of your body. For you don't know what happens if this humanoid catches you. I'll make you a survival check to see how well you can navigate yourself through this forest. With an 11 on the dice, I may have to change. I tested this this spooky effect on the dice cam, and it seemed to work fine with these other dice that are slightly easier to read, but some of the D20s make it a little difficult, so I might have to change that. I'm not sure. With an 11 on the dice, you are navigating yourself in roughly the same direction, but you're not sure which direction that is, and you have long since lost your way. You cannot remember how you got here, Joe. No. There is moonlight. It pokes through the canopy of the trees at irregular intervals. Do we have good shoes on? Sturdy, but more work boots than running shoes. They're starting to chafe. Should we hide and get a good look at whatever's chasing? Thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat. Do you wish to try and hide from whatever's chasing you? Yes or no? Do we have weapons? You do not. No, not hiding, just glancing back. You choose not to hide, knowing that whatever it is too close, and taking time to hide will allow it to catch up. As you glance back over your shoulder, however, in that moment of taking your attention from what's in front of you, your foot misses a step. And as you glance back over your shoulder, seeing the glimpse of a dark robe passing between trees a few feet back, your foot misses a step and you twist, and your ankle goes weak beneath you. And as your hands instinctively reach out to catch your fall, you look forward and find there is nothing to catch your fall on. You have somehow run yourself right up to the edge of a cliff that you were sure was not there moments before, when you turned your head back. And as your hands go out, I need a dexterity saving throw to see if you can catch yourself from falling off of this cliff. Roll that again because it was cocked. That is a 13. Unfortunately, it's not enough. And as you fall, your hands scramble for the loose vegetation that is growing out the side of this cliff, but come away with only leaves and sticks as you begin to fall into an abyss below. You spin back and catch a look at the top of the cliff as the thing chasing you gets to the top of the abyss and looks down upon you with a smile on its humanoid face. A smile that creeps out beneath a long grey beard, dark purple robes, and a hood over its head, obscuring some of its features. But you fall and fall as the wind rushes past you. It is all that you can hear in your ears over the sound of your own thumping blood. And coming soaring up to meet you at a phenomenal rate, the ground, rocky and jagged, with no chance of surviving. And as you slam into it, you wake with terror. Your nightmares have been getting worse. Over the last few days, it started as you missing a deadline, or finding yourself with something to do that you'd forgotten. But then you were back at school and you were failing an exam. You were visited by a ghost a couple of nights back, a ghost of your grandmother. But now as you lay there in a cold sweat in your bed, you realize just how tired you are. It is exhausting to not be able to finish a full night's rest. But you know that you're not going to get back to sleep now. You look over to your wife, who is stirring, and not wanting to wake Scylla, you swing your legs out of bed, slip your feet into slippers, and go downstairs. Scylla, Cilla, the name of your wife. It's short for Priscilla. As you place on your dressing gown and head downstairs, you light a candle because it's still dark out. In these winter months, the light doesn't rise until much later, much later than you have to as a farmer. So you prepare yourself, you head downstairs and start brewing a pot of coffee. You place the kettle on the fire. What else would you like to do? You have a little time before your regular workday starts as a farmer. What month are we in? You're in the month of Colabron. Colabron is a 2-week month towards the end of the year where one celebrates Kolak, the god of desecration, the god of foulness, the god of famine, disease, pestilence. Find our pet dog and give them a pat. Sure, I'll say you've got a pet dog. You find a pet dog, a farming dog, some sort of a sheepdog perhaps. You are not a shepherd, you are a crop farmer, but I'm sure you have some kind of you'd probably have a ratter dog then, you'd probably have a terrier. You find a little Jack Russell type dog and you give them a pat. Check your surroundings, your clothes, your house. All seems normal, high-tech geek, all seems usual. You head over to a bucket of water in the kitchen and splash your face, and you wake up a little. Well, now that you're awake, your heart has returned to normal. You think about the guy in your dream, and if you recognize him, very good. Let's see if you do. Let's roll you an insight check. That is a 10. With a 10, you think about the man in your dreams. You know that it was a man, you know that it was a human man. There is someone in town with a beard like that. Is the wizard. The wizard that lives in a tower just on the edges of town. Bit of a recluse, but has always been kind enough. We've just doomed our dog by bringing it into existence. You play with your dog a little. Play with your Jack Russell, perhaps. Has this man ever appeared in our dreams before? Not that you recall, no. Not with a 10. Do we owe the wizard money? No. No, you've not had much interaction with him at all. Do we know the forest or the wood that we were running through? No. Think about the grandmother ghost and what she said then. Let's see if you remember things. With a 7 on the dice. You do not recall anything that your grandmother ghost said. She talked about people being sick. She talked about loved ones being in danger. She talked about some sort of plague that was coming. Some sort of sickness of the town. She seemed to think that everyone in the town was in some kind of danger, but you don't remember the exact details of what she was saying or what she was warning you. As dreams often are, the details flow between your fingers as you try to grasp them once you wake. Do we take any medications or herbs for our dreams and restlessness? You have been trying for the last little while, yes, Atea. Your wife Scylla is bedridden these days with an illness, but she, before being bedridden, was an apothecarist. She was a herbalist and a soothsayer of sorts, a potion maker, and she has some home remedies that you've been attempting to try. They don't seem to be working. Has Scylla reported having nightmares as well? No. No one else in town has mentioned having nightmares. Can we note down what we remember? You can indeed, yes. You take a piece of parchment and an ink pen. You don't write all that often. You're a regular sort of peasant sort of farmer, and so you are not the most literate of folk, but you know how to write. You just don't practice it very often. So you take some parchment and some ink, and being not well practiced at this, you blotch the paper quite a lot with the ink. Writing with an ink and quill it actually takes quite a bit of skill, and if you're not practiced at it, you can leave quite a mess. But not being that cleanliness is on your agenda, you write down everything you remember of the dreams you're having. Do you have any kids? You do not. No. What is our fanciest farm equipment? Well, your farm, being that you live in a small village in Ghaule, a heavily forested land. Your village is not so large as to sustain an entire huge field of crops. Instead, you have lots of individual plots. You have smaller garden-sized plots of individual crops, and in particular, because of the time of year, winter vegetables. Do we remember when the nightmares started and any other details about ourselves? You are a human man. You are a farmer. You are in your 40s. And you are relatively fit and healthy. You are not well read. You are not well book learned. But otherwise, there's not much about that you remember about yourself. There's no other details of yourself. Pretty young then. Not for this time of year. Not for this time of history. No, with your being sort of medieval farmer type, you are not expecting to live a hell of a lot longer. Maybe into your 60s. How far away is it to the wizard's tower? Can we visit him and see if he has any ideas? Mention the granny ghost to him in your nightmares. You could indeed if you want to, yes. He's definitely within walking distance of your house, as is pretty much everything in the town. You're on the outskirts of the town. It's a sort of a 10 to 20 minute walk to get to the nearest part of town, probably on the upper end of that to get to the other end of town where the wizard tower lives. Does anyone else live in our house? No. We tried to talk to somebody about our nightmares. Until this morning, they haven't been bad enough to concern anybody other than your wife. What's our name? What would you like your name to be, Sparrow? I had in mind that for this particular game, you were somewhat of a silent protagonist, sort of able to project yourself into this character, and so I didn't want to come up with too many details of things that aren't going to change the tone or the details of the story. Can we visit the local healer? Your wife is the local healer. How's our ankle? Fine. The injury you sustained at the edge of your dream was just a dream. So, as you finish your coffee and you see the dawn light starting to creep out through the nearby trees and a couple of rays landing across your lap from the kitchen window, what do you want to do? Get on with your work day and start to tend to your crops, or head into town and try and find somebody to speak with, either a friend, a confidant, someone you can confide in, a local farmer, local baker, a miller, somebody that you can talk with, or the wizard. What would you like to do? Start your workday or go and talk to somebody in town? Make your sick wife something hot first. Yes, you start to make breakfast. You start to make another pot of coffee, and you take it to your wife. Speak to the wizard. Speak to the wizard. Check the crops. That's our only income at the moment. It is. Yes. All right. Looks like we are not at a unanimous decision. So I'll put it to a poll. What to do? Start your workday or head into town. 1 minute to decide, starting now. If you do not see the poll, remember to refresh the page. Do we trust this wizard? Have there been rumours or suspicions about him in town? You trust him as far as you trust anybody else in the town. There is no rumours or suspicions of him being shady. Viz the whiz. You take your breakfast in bed and the coffee to your bedridden wife, and you present it to her. You place it on a bed tray for her to use, and you tell her that you've been having nightmares again. And she says, "Perhaps you should up the dose." And she leans over to get something out of a drawer, but you beat her to it, and you don't want her moving too much, so you help get a little bottle of something out of the side drawer, and she says, "Take 4 drops today." before bed. Take 2 now, 2 after lunch, and then take 4 before bed. And so you do so. You take a little dropper out and you put 2 drops of this this horribly acrid tasting substance on your tongue. With 63% of the vote, you decide the crops can wait until later. You need to head into town. What is Scylla giving us? Some sort of medicine. You kiss her on the forehead and you turn and leave. You grab your belongings for the day, you put your work boots on. You take your overcoat, given that it's going to be a cold day, and you head out the front door. Your little Jack Russell nipping at your heels, wanting to come out to the farm with you, but you leave him at home because you're not heading to the farm, you're heading home. Let her know, I'm heading to town, and then you head into town. The town is a few minutes walk away, about 10 minutes to the nearest side of town, about 20 minutes to the other side of town. It is a small village dotted between the trees of this forest. It is mostly human, but there are fey creatures around. Ghaule is a very fey-influenced land. There are lots of fairies, dryads, and elves and eladrin living in this country. So it is no stranger. You are no stranger to seeing these things every so often. Did the nightmare start before or after the medicine? Before. Hence why the medicine is being taken. The medicine is designed to keep your mind your own during your night. Grab some sort of weapon before we headed out to town. What do you think you could have grabbed, high-tech geek? Some sort of personal knife, like a dagger for sorts? Her sickness is more important than our nightmare. She's not sick in the sense of something that can be easily cured. She has come down with something a lot more chronic, Svera. It has been many weeks that she's been bedridden now. And you are tending to her, she is tending to herself. You are doing all that you need. As a farmer, maybe we would have a sickle. Sure. They'll say you have a sickle hanging from your belt. A little piece of farming equipment, a handheld. For those who don't know, a sickle is like a handheld cropping device, like a scythe but smaller. It's a sort of question mark shape, and you hold the handle, and then the curved part is sharp on the inside for cutting hay and crops and such. You are reminded as you head into town that preparations are underway for a feast soon. You are getting towards the end of Calabran, the end of the 2-week period where one is expected to live somewhat more destitute, somewhat more impoverished and famished. Famished, is that right? Hungry. In honour of Kolak. Once Kolak has been appeased, you move from Calabran into a much more pleasant time of year. In a few days you will be in the first of Sintabrun. Sintabrun is a 2-week period at the end of the year, the very end month of the year, wherein you celebrate the god Sintalun. It's been a while. Sintabrun is a 2-week period at the end of the year, wherein you celebrate the god Sintalun, the god of levity, the god of joy, the god of all things fun, recreation. It is a 2-week holiday, essentially, and the only holiday of the year. For want of a better word, it is the holiday time of the year, the Christmas, Hanukkah sort of period of the year. It is 2 weeks of joy, and it is much anticipated after the 2 weeks of Calabran. You see evidence that people are preparing for this feast by the local folk having things outside of their house in preparation for it. Crates they've started to bring out from storage from the last year. Crates that include their Sintabrun decorations, such that they can put them up immediately upon the upon the start of the holiday. They cannot put them up or risk opening these crates until the end of Calabran, lest Kalak be displeased and not properly honoured. But they want them there as a reminder, a hope of what's to come. Are we wearing warm clothes? We are, yes. It is winter and you are a farmer, so you know about wearing the proper attire. Oh, he's suggesting we sleep until then. Yeah, just go back to sleep. Go back to sleep and sleep until the better month, please. We say a small prayer to that god for Scylla's health and to answer our nightmares. If you are praying for your wife's health, which you would do every night before you go to bed, you would pray to the particular gods. You would pray to the god Flonanshel for healing. She is one of the life gods and the god of all things medicine. Unfortunately, Sparrow, you are not a very wealthy farmer. You are getting by, so you do not have many different boots at your disposal. You have your work boots, and you have your nice shoes, and you have slippers. And that is pretty much the entirety of your footwear. You, as you walk, you say a little prayer to Flonanshel. Let's roll your religion check to see how well you focus. 18. You are focused pretty well on the ritualistic expectations of Flonanshel and how she likes to be addressed and how you like to word one's requests of her. And you feel confident that the prayer will be heard at the very least, even if not answered. Do we know who is in this village? Yes, basically anything. It's the sort of sized town where there is one of any basic amenity. So there is one baker, one blacksmith, one candlestick maker, one carpenter, and so on. It is a small town of less than 100 people, probably. One day we'll need a Rinn Jeopardy stream, yes. Do the villagers look generally healthy? Well, on a day like today, when you are up before the crack of dawn, most folk aren't awake yet. The baker is, and you can see the bakery shop front door is closed because he's not sort of opened himself for business yet, because most people aren't around. But he is preparing his baking for the day. You can tell from the smoke out of his chimney that his oven is on, and he's obviously at work. Do you have friends in the village? You are relatively friendly with everybody, yes. Any rumours about people getting sick? Not that you've heard of in the last little while. If we don't have any honours, can we pick up some healing supplies such as bandages to wrap up potential bruised ankles? Might be a bit paranoid about it after that nightmare. You can certainly do so, yes. You can head to the general store if you want. But I think people wanted to see the wizard, is that right? What do people think? Seek out the wizard or seek out someone friendly? Let's say the baker, since he's awake. Do we know when the wizard would normally wake up and be receiving guests? No, you don't know much about this wizard. Off to see the wizard, the worrying wizard of our dreams? Sure. Alright, most people, it seems, wanting to see the wizard. So you head through town. Yeah, I ordered the scary howling, the howling winds at my window just for this stream. Yeah, you're welcome. You head through town and you head to the wizard. And with a rap, rap, rap on his door, the door of his mostly cylindrical 3-story tower, the tallest building in town by an entire story and a roof. You rap, rap, rap on his door, and there is no answer. You give it a few moments and rap, rap, rap a little louder. There's no answer. Do you try the handle? Yes or no? With the majority yes, your instinct reaches out for the handle, and as you grab it, I need a dexterity saving throw. With a 14, you manage to wrench your hand away from the heat that suddenly starts from the doorway. You see a little arcane rune start to spark up and burns you for several points of damage. Now, one of the other things about this game that's going to keep the horror aspect is that you don't know how many hit points you have, and you don't know how many hit points you're taking. You're going to have to infer from how I'm describing your situation what situation you're in. Right now, you are not at risk of death, but you have taken some amount of damage to your hand. As you have tried the door handle and activated some sort of wizard's trap, you have burned your hand. What do you want to do? The rune, as you watch, dulls back down, and the heat of the handle dies away. Knock constantly for as long as we can. Curse the wizard's door. Knock again louder. Bam, 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 bam! You start braying on the door now. There's no answer. You stay here for a good 10 minutes, braying on the door every few minutes, every few seconds. Eventually you conclude that either he is in a deep state of unconscious, or he is not in. You're far enough from town that the sound of your braying on the door won't affect anybody else. He is somewhat reclusive. Look for another way in. You could break the door down if you wanted to. You could try and climb in through one of the downstairs windows. He has no bell to ring. Is there a cliff nearby? There shouldn't be. You live in a not a landlocked, but you live in the inland part of the country, on the inland side of the country. So there should not be any cliffs, any major, huge cliffs around. No sea cliffs, anyway. What purpose would there be in breaking in? What are we even doing here? It's a wizard's tower. There'll probably be traps everywhere. Check for traps. With a 10 on your checking for traps, you can see that there is that little etched rune on the door handle itself, but it is not currently glowing, but it wasn't when you reached out for it either. It seems like it's just there to activate when somebody grabs it without permission. No breaking into people's houses. Don't give him a reason to hunt you through the woods, please. You call out for him and walk around the building, and there is no response. So eventually you leave, you head back to town, and you head to the baker's. Once you arrive at the baker's, what can we call him? Mr. Joseph Quatre. Joseph Quatre. As you head to Mr. Quatre, you knock on his door, and Joseph Baguette. Mr. Quatre opens it. That would be Quatre would be Catre, I think. Mr. Quatre opens the door, covered in flour and his apron, and a huge mustache that covers most of his face. How are you? I did not expect to see you this early. Come on in. I have something potentially burning. Come on in. And he just leaves the front door for you as he heads back through to his shop. He's wearing a hairnet over his mustache. Yeah, he's got a hairnet on over his hair and another smaller one over his beard, just like a face mask, but just a net. Come on in. And he wanders back through, and you follow him through to the back room. He gets something out of the oven, and it smells delicious, smells divine. He compliments you on the recent wheat that has been grown, and the miller has obviously milled it into a high grade of flour for him, and he compliments you on it as he rolls out some more dough. What is it that you want? Can we afford a loaf? You can, yes. What is the name of our town? Your town is called Ferik. You ask him, do you know the wizard up the way? And he says, of course, we all know the wizard. What of it? Do we know him well? Relatively well. Ask about his health. or if he or his family happens to be having nightmares. Might be something in a water approach. You do so. You ask him about his health, and he says he's doing well, feeling a little under the weather because of the cold. The wife has caught a cold, and the kids are catching it too. But I managed to avoid it so far. Managed to fight it off. But typical for this time of year, eh? It's nice to see a friendly face. How have you been? I had a dream last night that the wizard was chasing me. Oh, Peore! Why would he be chasing you? I don't know. Perhaps just a nightmare. Do you know where he is? I just went to his house. You want to ask him if he was chasing you through your dreams? No, I just wanted to know if he knew anything about why I'm having so many nightmares. You're having nightmares? I'm sorry to hear it. Yes, every night it's been stressful. Ghaule can be like that. Have you seen him recently? I think I saw him 2 days ago, 3 days ago. He came in and bought some bread. The wizard's name is Peore, yes. Are you preparing for Sinterlin? For Sinterbrunn? Of course. I have to have many pies and buns, and people like to eat the sweet things on the 1st of Sinterbrunn, of course. Have you heard anything odd happening around town? Anyone sick or anyone else having nightmares? I mean, people get sick all the time, of course, especially this time of year, but no, I'm fine. Wizard was not looking different when you saw him. No. What is troubling you? What is on your mind? Perhaps these nightmares are from anxiety. What kind of bread did Peore buy? Did he say why he bought it? You're asking some strange questions, my friend. Of course, he bought bread to eat it. I don't know. I do not ask my customers why they buy bread. I assume they buy bread for the same reason we all have bread. To eat it. To keep alive, you know? Especially because bread is pretty much all we can eat during Ghaule. It's boring, but hey, it puts money in my pocket. Yeah. It's just that my dreams keep getting a little worse. That's all. Are there any rituals for the upcoming Sinterbrunn that people usually observe? Sinterlun, the god that Sinterbrunn is a festival for, he just likes revelry and fun and levity. So the rituals for Sinterlun are just indulging in anything that you enjoy. To bring yourself the most joy possible. Yes, not sacrificial bread. No, probably not. I will say, guys, that you are barking up the wrong tree. You talk to the baker for a little while longer. It is clear that he is appreciative of the company, but also not giving you the time of day that will take away from his busy time of year. Like, as I say, Ghaule is a time of famine and a time of giving up the creature comforts of life, even if you can afford them. People often buy take more food than they need, and deliberately let it go to waste in honor of the god of pestilence and disease and famine. He's not the god of death, but he's the god of desecration. And people will often let food out to rot, and so people buy more food than they need, sort of broke themselves, as it were, somewhat. Any baked goods we can bring to sell? Yes, if you want, you can buy a pastry or two. So you buy some bread, but from your questioning, you begin to believe that perhaps it was just a nightmare. Sometimes a nightmare is just a nightmare. We buy 2 loaves and leave one out to rot while we take the other with us. Yes, you buy 2 loaves. You hand over a couple of copper pieces. You thank him for his work and his indulging you in your questions. And you head back to your house. On the way, you say a little honor of Kolak, you say a little prayer to him and say, may this bread go to waste in your name. May you allow my crops to continue to grow, such that it can be used to feed those who are currently hungry. You do your best to honor him, and with an 11 religion, you're not as familiar with how he likes to be prayed to as Sintilan, obviously, or Flonenshale, but you do well enough, you think. You leave the bread out to rot and to be eaten by nature, and you take the other loaf home with you. Is there a god related to dreams? Not a god that is specific to dreams, no. Well, there probably would be, but he would be one of the lesser gods, not one of the greater gods. You head home. You cut up the bread and you toast a piece on a toasting fork by the fire before taking it up with some butter for Scylla, and she asks why you're home already, and shouldn't you be in the field, sort of thing. And you say, I went to see the wizard because he was in my dream and he wasn't home. I burned my hand, and you show her, and she says, "Oh, nasty." Put some salve on it, and she immediately tries to get out of bed. And you sort of, I know where it is. I know where the salve is, and you head over to the medicine cabinet, and you take some salve. You place it on your hand and wrap it in a bit of gauze. And then you need to go about your day. You are expected to be farming, after all. Everyone in this town must pull their weight. Prinsalv? Actually, unlike in this world, Prinflowers would be slightly more, in this country rather, Prinflowers would be more abundant, so it would actually be more likely. So yes, I'm going to say that she does have a little puddle of Prinsalv that you use on your hand. Alright, so you head to your farm. You head to one of the farms. As I say before, you don't have huge fields of crops. Instead, you have garden-sized produce. You head to one of them, and there is a relatively high fence around it to keep the animals out, keep the non-flying animals out anyway. Relatively high fence around it. I'm going to say that growing in this farm is some sort of winter root vegetables, some sort of maybe potatoes. I'm not sure. I'm not a farmer. How well do potatoes do over winter? Are they a winter vegetable? Kale. Yeah, maybe. Winter potatoes. Yeah, you get some magic winter potatoes. Sprouts. I know sprouts are a winter vegetable. Sprouts. Let's say you go to one of your crops, which is a field of sprouts. As I say, there is a fence around it to keep the ground-based animals out, and in the centre of this plot is a scarecrow to keep the flying animals out as well. But as you approach this crop plot, with an 11 on the dice, your perception is such that you can see that the gate is standing ajar. The gate is ajar and has been disturbed. The lock on it left open. Somebody has been into this crop plot. Maybe some local kids, or maybe some particularly desperate or famished. I keep wanting to say famished. Some sort of famished member of the town has snuck in to steal some sprouts, perhaps. You head into your crop plots to investigate further, and as you do, there is this creaking sort of sound ahead. You're not sure where it came from, but it sort of sounded like wood grinding against wood, perhaps. There are no tracks that you can notice now. But as you take your sickle out from your belt, you realise the creaking came from the Scarecrow. Just a regular, mundane Scarecrow. But its head is now facing you. and it shouldn't have been. It is looking in your direction. Check the Scarecrow. You start to head towards the Scarecrow, and then its body starts to turn towards you too. I need you to roll initiative. With a 6 on the dice, the Scarecrow actually got lower, with a 5 on the dice. So as the Scarecrow turns its head towards you, and then its body, you see that it starts to move and shift. Not only its physical location, but the appearance of it. It starts to bulk out in places where the hay has kind of settled over time. Its lower, sort of longer, almost like dress-like clothing seems to ripple as though legs are being born beneath it. And it starts to turn towards you. What do you want to do? Yell at the Scarecrow, "We made you! We own you! Stop this at once!" That is not how a Scarecrow is supposed to act, no. Step away, run, kiss, fight. What do we want to do? Call out to a Scarecrow if it's possibly somebody playing a prank. Alright, there's a lot of options here, so I'm going to put this to a poll. What to do? Run. Fight. Investigate. Intimidate. Run, fight, investigate, intimidate, or brace. Those are your options. What would you like to do? Stand your ground. I think you may still be dreaming. Ooh, that's a very good point. Maybe. Pinch yourselves. That would go under brace, I imagine. Like, brace yourself and just think, this isn't real, this isn't real, this isn't real. Revelry doesn't start until tomorrow. Stop this now. Could be a kid playing the Scarecrow, or could be a kid in the Scarecrow animating it. Chuck a potato at it. Did we adventure in the past? No, you were never an adventurer. You've always just been a farmer, like your father before you. I bet it's a fairy playing a prank. It could be. You were in a land of fairies. It would not be something unexpected. No, uncommon for the fey creatures to play pranks. Okay, with 46% of you, almost half of your brain asking to investigate this creature, and almost a quarter of your brain wanting to run, with only 13% wanting to intimidate, and hardly any wanting to brace or fight. You're going to try and investigate this creature. As your turn, you are going to try and see if this is some kind of a prank, see if this is someone that is messing with you, if it's a joke. So, I'll roll you an investigation check. 10. With a 10, you call out, revelry doesn't start until Sintabrun. Not Scottish. Used to going into Scottish for your character's voice. French. Revelry does not start until Sintabrun. If this is some kind of joke or prank, it is the wrong time of year for it. Release this Scarecrow now. I do not believe in what you are doing. You call this out as you sort of look around the Scarecrow to see if there are any arcane runes or marks on it. With a 10, you can't see any arcane runes or marks or anything that explains why this Scarecrow should be moving. You also, your words fall on deaf ears, it seems. There is nothing that wants to relinquish its joke or prank on you. You are dishonoring Colabran. You are dishonoring Kalak and the spirit of Colabran by playing this prank. Unfortunately for you, you have made a wrong decision, because it turns out this Scarecrow is not somebody playing a prank. This is not a harmless, fairy, mischievous joke. It becomes very clear that that is the case as the Scarecrow dismounts itself from its wooden pole and starts to move towards you, and as it does, its fingernails grow longer and it claws out at you to attack. It strikes you and it cuts, and it feels deep across your arm. You bring your arm up to defend and it cuts across your forearm. You bring up your sickle to fight back, and you manage to strike it in the arm, and it manages to push itself away a little bit. You've kind of knocked it away. What do you want to do? It is back to you. You have taken some damage. It hurt a lot. You've not been cut like this in a while. You have cut yourself this deep before on farming equipment, but not for a few years now. Run, fight, sweep the leg, try and find a fire source, behead it. Alright, so it seems like we are either running or fighting. Running or fighting, running or fighting. Let's put that to a poll. Run or fight. You have 1 minute to decide as this horrific, slightly misformed face of this Scarecrow, still looking like some sort of carved piece of wood with some cloth over the face of it, with the face painted on this cloth head. The head moving with this grinding kind of wood on wood sound every time that its joints move. Even as its arms raise, you can hear the wood of its arms grinding against the wood of its torso as it strikes out to hit you. Do we have fire anywhere? You do not, but you could potentially light something. We're not great at running if our nightmare's any indication. Yeah, but running in a nightmare is always a lot harder than running in real life. Do not run towards our house, maybe run towards the shed or the barn for the fire, matches, any source of fire. With 73% of you wanting to run, you turn and you rush away from this creature. As you leave, it takes one final attack of opportunity at you. Nat 20. So as it strikes you in the back, there is a deep gash cut across your skin from its claws. Points from the first, and then you are not looking well. You're not dead yet, of course. You are still conscious, but you are feeling very, with the burn on your hand from this morning, and then the 2 strikes from it with a nat 20. You're in particularly dire straits. You are going to be losing a lot of blood, both from the 3 gashes in your forearm and now the 3 gashes along your back that is much longer and has cut into some muscle, it seems. You have rushed away from it, though, and you've made it to the outside of your fenced crop plot. You turn and you slam the gate shut, and with the discarded lock nearby, you manage to pick it up and lock it. What do you want to do? As we run, scream, "Why are you doing this? What do you want?" It doesn't seem to respond. Do we still have any salve on us? You do have some. You have 1 more use of the pot of Prince Salve, yes, but Prince Salve does not heal you. It prevents. Lingering injuries. Run back home to Scylla for healing. You do know that Scylla has a supply of light healing potions that you could take. It seems to be trapped inside of the crop plot for now. It moves towards you and gets to the fence, and then it starts to rattle the fence towards you. It's got an expressionless face as its claws are pushing through the fence trying to get to you. I need to at least stop the bleeding, so get healing. Alright, so you back away and keep watching it in case it can escape the fence. It doesn't seem to be smart enough to climb the fence. It doesn't seem to be mobile enough to jump over it. It just stays there and rattles at the fence. Once you realize it is contained within your fenced crop plot area, you rush back home. You arrive at home and start pushing your way through the drawers and cupboards of the medicine cabinet, and you find the little vials of red potion that you're looking for. You pop the top off and chuck it back, and you get the sweet taste of vanilla in your mouth as you heal. And you heal for... You heal back up to full. Your wounds close, but they are scarred. Actually, no, you don't. You should heal full. Yes, you know from experience that these potions are particularly potent. Your wife makes very good potions, but as you drink it back, your wounds sort of close up, and then they painfully start to split open again. You can feel the same happening in the wounds in your back. You feel less pain in them, like the wound is not as deep anymore, but there is something happening that is preventing the magic of this potion from working properly. You go through to your wife and explain the situation, and as concerned as she is for your health, her brain goes into analytic mode, and there is only powerful magic that could curse a wound to prevent opening like this. There is only powerful magic that could control a scarecrow like this. I'm sorry to say it, my love, but if you were dreaming of the wizard, and now there is magically some sort of creature, it must be the wizard who has done it. I can't think of any other explanation. If the wizard has placed something on the claws of this abomination, or cursed it in some way to curse you, there must be some antidote. I know from my work that whenever you are creating some kind of poison, there is always some kind of antidote. All I can think is that the wizard must have something that can counteract this. If he is out of town, if he is not answering the door, perhaps it is safe to get into his house and to find what it is that can counteract what you are doing, what is happening. This whole while she's sort of looking at your arm and tending to it. She's got some bandage out from her bedside drawer, and she's like wrapping it around you to like pull it tight to prevent you from bleeding out anyway. Based on my attempt to open his door, I wouldn't call his place safe. No, apparently not. You will have to just have your wits about you. You are a smart man. And she raises her hand and sort of strokes your face. Please be safe, and I know that you are smart enough to do this. Get fire-making tools, torch, break into his tower and find the antidote. So, what do you want to do now? You want to arm yourself? You want to prepare yourself as best you can and head to the wizard's tower? What would the antidote look like? You ask your wife, do you recognize what is happening? And she says, it looks to me like a basic sort of toxin. Like something perhaps was coated on the Scarecrow, or there is a sort of catch-all antidote, a rock. It sort of looks like a chunk of salt. It's like a large salt rock. And she describes it to you. It's like a pale violet sort of color, almost white, but with this just a hint of violet, and it catches the light. It's semi-sparkles. It has like a yellowish quality as it in the dark. If you look at it in the dark, it's yellowish, and then in the light, it can catch certain grains of it. Can catch a sort of very light lilac sort of color. But it is called Furzel. And if you can find a rock of Furzel, it only needs to be about yay big. If you can find it in the wizard's tower, I'm sure you can bring it back here, and I can create an antidote from it. Take an oven mitt. You grab a you grab an oven mitt before heading to the door, of course. Tell the villagers, prepare anything we have, weapons, armor if we have it, healing potions. You can take another, let's see how many she has. She would not have more than 3, so she has 1 more healing potion of light healing. She has the ingredients to make more, but she's not been well enough to be brewing anymore. So you have 1 more light healing potion that you can take with you. Don't forget our scroll of capture wizard. Yeah. Take some money so we can pay for the cure if necessary. Yeah, you take as much as you have to spare, which is not much. But you also grab a hand axe, so you have a sickle and a hand axe. All right, check your house. You might have a bow and arrow for killing rabbits and stuff. I'll say you've got a light a hand crossbow. So you can take a hand crossbow, a hand axe, and a sickle. That is all the weaponry that you would have around. Tinderbox, yeah. You managed to take a tinderbox with you and some torches. A couple of candles. A small section of rope, let's say. You gather some supplies and you head off back towards town. Feeling a little woozy, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. With a 12, you feel like the loss of blood perhaps has made you a little lightheaded. You are somewhat fatigued from the nights of no rest, and now coupled with the blood loss and the adrenaline wearing off, you have a point of exhaustion. Can we investigate the house? Your house or the wizard's house? One any villagers that we come across on the way about the Scarecrow and potentially the wizard. You would redial, but as you walk through town, now that it's much later than it was, it is somewhat eerie how quiet the town is. It's also seemingly a very overcast morning, and so the light in town is somewhat lacking also. The wind rushes through the town's streets, but nothing else is illuminated. It should be mid-morning by now. But the baker's is shut, and his chimney is not blowing smoke. The blacksmith is shut. He should be hard at work by now. It is dark and cold and very quiet in town. You can see the wizard's tower on the other edge of town. What do you want to do? I'm very suspicious of our wife, as you probably should be. In a situation like this, who knows what you can trust? I'd like to rap on the nearest door. You do so. As you rap on the door opens. Just swings ajar. There's no sound from within and no lights on within. What do you want to do? Is there a friend we could talk to? The baker, probably. Check for traps. With a natural 1, you check for traps and find nothing. This is just somebody's house. I'm going to say that it is the cobbler's house. The cobbler's a lady called Sandra, and she, lovely lady, keeps to herself, quite bookish, enjoys losing herself in a fantasy novel. Anyone here? Sandra! You pinch yourself and say, wake up, wake up, wake up. I need a wisdom saving throw from you. With an 18. Wake up, wake up, wake up. You open your eyes and find that Sandra's house has dissipated. Everything has dissipated. It is dark. But you can't move. As you try to look around to see where you are, you find that your neck is not responding. Your eyes are open, and as they're adjusting to the dark now, you can tell that you are looking up at your ceiling on a bit of an angle. You are lying in your bed, you can tell, and you are looking up on an angle to the corner of your room, the corner of your ceiling, and you're having a hard time breathing. You can tell that just beyond the edge of your vision, there is some sort of creature. Some sort of creature is in the room with you, and it is gleaming through the darkness. You can see, just at the edge of your vision, some sort of red eyes, and from the you can hear slathering of a tongue. There is also a creature behind you. Behind your head should only be the headboard. Behind your head should be the wall to your house. It shouldn't be possible for a creature to be that close. But you can sense that it's there. You can feel that it is something less than 2 feet from the top of your head. The bed shifts a little as its weight gets displaced, pushing down on the mattress. It is getting closer to your face, but still out of the sight, as you cannot turn your head. You are paralyzed, and you are having a hard time breathing. It is now close enough that you can hear its soft breath. It's by your right ear. There is a darkness in the room, and you cannot see it. And as the bed shifts again, so does its breath. It seems belabored at first, but as you notice its rapid out-breaths followed by one in-breath, you realize it sounds like laughing. Something is chuckling, pleased at your displeasure. But the bed shift betrays a lack of physical body as it moves away from the bed once more. It retreats away from you, back through where the wall should be, its breath getting fainter. Another few moments go by before you realize you're no longer paralyzed by some sort of otherworldly nature. You are now just paralyzed by fear. As you swallow hard, feelings come back to your fingers, and you realize you can look around. And as you do so, the gleaming red of whatever it was just beyond your vision to your feet has gone. The breath of whatever was above you is gone. You look around and see that, just as before, the bed head is intact and the wall is intact. The painting above your bed is intact. You realize it was another nightmare. But as you shift around to see your wife, you see her sound asleep beside you, but you also feel a pain across your back. And as you reach your hand instinctively back to feel it, a pain rushes through your arm too. You look down and see blood on the sheets. There is blood on the bed sheets beneath you and your bed sheets above you. You realize that you're bleeding in 3 slashes across your forearm. You look down at your hand and see the burn is still there, yes, and your bandaged hand is still there. You reach over to the wife and see, yes, she's breathing. As you put your hand on her head stirs a little, and she just lets out a soft moan. What about your ankle? Your ankle seems fine. You swing your legs out of bed, trying not to disturb your wife, and you head to your medicine cabinet. You see 2 light healing potions. And noticing your bleeding arm, you pop the top one. There's a really cool popping sound effect that you can do with your tongue, but it's kind of lessened if you've got a mustache. You pop the top off of the healing potion. And your wounds start to heal up. As they heal up, though, they start to rip open again more painfully. Just like in the dream, if it was a dream. Your wounds can be closed, but only partially. There is something deeper at work in what's going on with your wounds. Unsure about what's real, close our eyes once more and again whisper, "Wake up," and wait a moment before opening our eyes again. You close your eyes, you whisper to yourself to wake up. And with a 7 wisdom check, you open your eyes and you feel nothing has changed. Perhaps this is real now. Do we have any magic? You do not. You pinch harder. You close your eyes once more and you pinch harder. You are definitely feeling pain. This feels real. Everything about it feels real. Go check if the town is populated. Look at our hands. Your hands seem real. You wake Scylla with a gentle shake. Huh? What is it? Are you okay? Do you remember our previous discussions? Which discussion? What do you mean? Do you remember me coming to you to tell you about the wizard? No? Peore? What about him? I've injured myself. Oh no! Her eyes come up and, are you okay? What is the matter? And she turns over and you can see her fiddling with a box of matches to light the oil lamp by her bed. She lights it and just turns the lantern on, puts it on low, and she tries with a struggle and a bit of a wheeze to shift herself to a more seated position. She grabs your pillow and puts it behind her. What, are you okay? I seem to have cut myself. Oh, I'm sorry. There are potions in the medicine cupboard. And you say, yeah, I've taken one. Did I have these when I went to bed last night? I don't think so. I think I would have remembered you being all bloodied like this. What time of day is it? It is late. It is like early morning or late night. It is very dark out. You're not sure exactly what time it is. I think it happened in a dream. I think I hurt myself in my dream. I had a dream that my Scarecrow attacked me and it left damages just like this. Perhaps you cut yourself on the bed? Or, like, how could you have... You don't roll enough for... Oh, this is bad. And you show her the wounds on your back. This is deep. You exposition dump everything that you've dreamt and everything you can remember from your dream. And it felt so real. I remember every moment of it like it actually happened. I walked through town and no one was there. I'm sorry to say, but I think this is some sort of magic. I think that Peore will either know what's happening or what. Well, I hate to even imply it, but if it's magic, Peore could be responsible. If this was a normal cut, the healing potion should have worked. You told me I was cursed, and I need to find an antidote from Peore, a purplish, yellowish rock called Furzel. I would suggest that is what I would suggest, yes. Furzel is sort of a super cure, a super antidote. It is a cure-all of sorts. It can cure certain poisons and toxins in the systems. Right. Insight check on the wife? Sure. Because this is a check you are doing and you have a level of exhaustion, which has carried over, that is going to be at disadvantage with a 4 or a 19. So with a 4, you have no reason to distrust your wife. She seems earnest, she seems tired and sort of still waking up, but she seems like she's telling you the truth. Would we have known about Furzel? Probably not, no. It is not in your wheelhouse of specialty. You don't remember telling me that. I never told you that. You told me it in my dream, and I wouldn't have known it without you. Maybe it's something your subconscious has picked up on. Take some time to think, call out our dog to calm down, and then investigate the house, looking for anything unusual or weird, something that shouldn't be there. Alright then. You take a moment to calm down, playing with your little Jack Russell dog, and then investigating the house with a 2 or a 6 with disadvantage. So a 2. Your house looks like it's in order. Your house looks like it's as it should be. There is a small leak in the kitchen that you've been meaning to get fixed for many months now. There is a patch of mold in the bathroom that's been there for years. There is stuff sitting out that should be put away, laundry and such. Your house looks as you'd expect it to. You are exhausted. You are tired. You have not slept an entire night through in a while, and it's beginning to take a toll on you. As you're checking the house out, you're in the bathroom and you catch yourself in the mirror, and you look sunken. You look like your eyes are dark, and you look like you're not doing well. Like you have sacrificed a lot to Ghaule on this month of sacrifice. It seems like you, above all else, have sacrificed lots. You look gaunt and pale, and you look every bit as exhausted as you are. Check your memories for gaps like it would be in a dream, missing facts and pieces. It all seemed to be there. Everything that was there, everything that happened, it seems to be there. Check on the Scarecrow through the window. You can't see your crop from here, but you locked it in your dream. Try to wake up again with a wisdom saving throw of a 2. You are convinced now that you are waking. You are awake at this moment, it seems. We did not get the bread or talk with the baker. As you think this, you look in the bread box and find there is a loaf of bread in there. Recently cut. A piece missing. The bread is real. Take this loop off. Try and go to sleep for a bit. You could try. Fix the porch, go to sleep, wake up, see if the porch is still fixed. Yeah, you can try. Can we ask, what day is it, Sela? And she says it should be Saturday, 14th, 15th. Should be Saturday, the 15th of Ghaule. She reaches up and touches your face. There's only 2 more days, my sweet. Only 2 more days before the end of the month. You should be okay. We will feast. We will feast on the first of Sintabron. We will eat and enjoy it. We will get your strength back. Take note of our latest dream in our journal. You take out the pieces of parchment that you've been copying your dreams down on, and you read that everything you remembered of the dream is in there. Everything up to the last time you wrote in this is in there. When you wrote about falling off a cliff, being chased by the wizard, it is in there. Did our beard grow larger? The beard is there. The beard is there. It's hard to tell whether it's longer than it would have been yesterday, because they don't grow at such a rate to notice yesterday. Notice a day's growth. Is the plate still up with your wife that you took her toast on? You head there and there is no plate in the room, no. Take more of those drops, they work great and aren't precise at all, yeah. You add to the notes the story of what your what your latest dream was. But it's harder this time because it's harder to remember which parts were a dream, because you remember in the dream writing the note that is in here. So you have written the note. But then you also remember going to the baker, and you do have the bread from the baker's. But then there was no moment when you went to bed. You came back home to give your wife the toast, and then you went to the farm and got attacked by a scarecrow, and the scarecrow's attack is still there. But then you came home to get healed, and you took the potion that has not been taken. And then you went to the town, and then you woke up, so the town wasn't real, so you're not sure which part of it was a dream and which part wasn't. But you write as much as you can remember. The ink is starting to run out. You're going to have to get some more from the general store at some point. Write down the day and the date that Scylla gave us, yes. You tightly wrapped the cloth on the wounds on your arm. It should have been the same day now as it was yesterday, or before you woke. The day that you thought it was when you went to the farm, the day that it was when you got attacked by the scarecrow. It should be about the same time in the morning now as it was when you went to the scarecrow, when you went to the baker. If this day plays out like it did in your dreams, the wizard isn't home right now. And if you are indeed cursed or poisoned by the wizard, perhaps it could be worth actually going to his house to see what else could happen. Make a mark on her arm with the ink. Yeah, you take a little bit of the remaining ink from the ink pot and you make a little mark on your arm. Go to see the wizard. Are people interested in seeing the wizard? A couple people are. Means at some point before we started we actually were being chased by the wizard. Maybe. Or maybe that was entirely a dream. You don't trust yourself to be awake, even after multiple times trying to wake up now. You don't know what's real, but this one feels real. This feels like you're awake. Every time you think about being asleep, it seems nonsense to you. Go to the scarecrow and see if it's alive. Go to the wizard. Go to the wizard. Gather the dog supplies and stop by the bookbinder in town for ink and head towards the wizard. Baker first. Whistle. You whistle, and you can whistle fine. You whistle a little harmless tune. You whistle a little harmless tune that you've learned as a farmer. Just a little children's ditty. The farmer wants a wife. The farmer wants a wife. You're convinced that you're in reality. So, you grab your supplies, same as you did yesterday. You grab the torch. You grab your tinderbox, you grab a hand axe, you grab your crossbow and some bolts. As you're whistling, the dog comes rushing up, your little Jack Russell, Let's call him Jack. But it's Jacques, because you're in Ghaule, which is the equivalent of my France. Jacques. Jacques! Ici! And Jacques comes rushing. You grab everything you need from your belongings and you head into town. It is too early in town for anybody to be around, to be awake. But you can see the wizard's tower ahead of you. What do you want to do? Are we heading to the wizard? Jacques. Yeah. Jeff. What would you like to do? Knock on Sandra's door, the cobbler. Knock on the baker's door. Go to Mr. Carter's, the baker. Did we grab an oven mitt? You did, yes. You head to the baker's first. Alright, so you head to the baker's, Mr. Jacques. Knocking on his door. He opens the door, covered in flour, a little beard net over his huge mustache. Miss, how are you, my friend? Come on in, I've got something potentially burning. Give me a second. And he leaves the door open for you to come on in. Did not expect you so early. You're normally straight to that farm, huh? You need something from me. Thank you for the good quality wheat, by the way. The miller has ground it into a fine flour. Is the wizard around? Oh, Peore? I don't know. I haven't seen him in a couple of days. De pain complet, s'il vous plaît. Oui, of course. When did you last see me? When did I last see you? What's going on, my friend? Did I visit you yesterday? No, not yesterday, I don't believe. I think it was it 3 days ago? For your last loaf, for you and your wife. No, he doesn't say that actually. He says, when you got to me, you came about 3 days ago for a loaf, I think. Pierre's a sus name for a wizard. Where did Peore go? I don't know that he's gone anywhere. Give me a second here. And he starts to roll out something, get something out of the oven. He's definitely not giving you his full attention because he's busy working. Did I only buy the one loaf? Oui, I think so. Right. And you don't know, you haven't seen the wizard? Not in a couple of days, no. He came in for a couple of loaves, I think. Right. Do you remember when you last saw Scylla? Disadvantage. He says, with his back towards you, he's getting things out of the oven. He says, I have not seen your wife since she was bedridden. And he turns around and takes a tray out. Puts a couple of loaves out and he gives you a fresh loaf. Would you like it wrapped? Merci. Can we piss off the baker a little bit? Just enough for him to not be friendly the next day and see what carries over. You can if you want. Is that something you wish to do? Or do you want to head to the wizard? Buy 3 loaves this time. Change things and see if reality changes. Sure. You say, actually, can I have an extra loaf? He says, oh, hungry. This is gonna go off, or you are giving a couple to Ghaule. He takes another loaf out. Pissing him off. We only got one no and one yes, so straight to the wizard. All right. So you ask him to wrap it up. You give him sort of 3 copper for it or whatever. And he scratched the baker's counter without him noticing. Sure. With a 2 or an 11 on sleight of hand, he says, "Hey, careful! You're putting a mark in my counter, huh?" He says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not realize. I'm so tired. I did not realize. But you have left a little bit of a groove, just like a nick in the side of his counter. He definitely noticed it, though. Get some ink first, and then leave a note. Seems a good idea." Seems you were not voted in favour of your decision to piss him off, Mark. So I'm afraid that's not something you think about doing it, but the rest of your neurons take over and decide no. He knows about Scylla though, so if she's not real, neither is the baker. This whole village could be a dreamscape, keeping us occupied while the two creepy laughing shapes are doing whatever to us. Possibly. Ink first. You would know that the bookbinder and the general store, the two places where you might find ink, would neither be open at this early in the morning. Only you as a farmer and him as a baker are the first to rise, essentially. It's like still like an hour before dawnbreak. Just us and one other person awake. Seems like it. And your wife, perhaps. Note that we marked his counter and bought some loaves in our journal. You've left that at home because it's a dream journal and you don't just carry pots of ink around with you. Especially because the ink was empty. Use our blood as ink if we must. Nothing can go wrong in a horror story using your blood as ink. We don't have much ink, but we're also running out of blood. Yeah. Alright, what do people want to do? Do we want to break into the bookbinders or general store to try and find ink so that we've got something to make notes of and mark ourselves with and stuff as needed? Do we want to go to the Wizard's Tower? What time of day did we enter town after Scarecrow attack? Mid-morning, several hours from now, if it's the same day. We are exhausted. There's a risk we fall asleep if we sit in a park. That is a very good point, yeah. The wizard probably has ink as well, yeah. The wizard will almost definitely have ink. So if your intention is to break into the Wizard's Tower to get the Furzl, then you're probably also going to get ink there. Alright, so to the Wizard's Tower you go. You head to the outskirts of town. It's far enough out that people in the town can't be disturbed by sounds that happen here, by design, because often his experiments are loud. And so it's a large enough, tall enough tower that you can see it from town, but you can't necessarily hear things that go on there. Are we knocking or are we breaking in? Well, there's the two options. Thumbs up for knock, thumbs down for breaking in. Thumbs up for knocking, thumbs down for breaking in, I said, right? Yeah. Alright, so yes, knock. Puff, 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 puff. There is no answer. Doof, 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 doof. You knock a little louder. There is no answer. Bum, 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 bum. You bray on his door, and there is no answer. There is a chance that the wizard is out of town, it seems. Check for traps. You check the door handle, and even in your exhausted state, you don't have to roll a check for it. You check the door handle, and you can see there is a small rune etched into the doorway to dissuade anybody from opening it without permission. Put your oven mitt on, and you open the door. What's the French for Yaris Golthorn? Open up. Very good. You put your oven mitt on, and you grab the door handle. You feel the heat raise, but it's enough of a barrier now to open the door and swing it open. Inside, you see the wizard's foyer. There is a bit of a library of sorts down here. It is there's a section of the front entrance part that is for boots and clothes, overcoats and umbrellas and such. Then it goes pretty much into like a drawing room, sitting room kind of area, where it's just like a couple of bookshelves, a few cabinets with some interesting minerals and things in, a reading chair, sort of like a reading nook, and then off to the other side like a place for storage, essentially, like a couple of crates. It's all open plan. Then there is a ladder that across the back wall that heads up to his second floor. You've not had reason to be in this wizard's tower before, so you don't know what's on his second or third floor. There is no one and nothing down here, but there is like an oil lantern that's illuminated and on low, off to the side. Don't touch anything. Watch where we step. Go very slowly. Yell that we're bringing pizza. Is the wizard a hoarder, or is meticulously labelled everything alphabetically? Hopefully the second. He is much more the second. He hasn't meticulously labelled everything, but the stuff on his bookshelves are in alphabetical order, and the stuff in his cabinets seem to be labelled. Can we ignore all the books and find a good place to sleep? You could try and sleep here if you want. You are sneaking and being quiet. Let's see how sneaky you're being with exhaustion. Let's see a stealth check of a natural 20, or, with disadvantage, a 10. So a 10 on stealth, still average, that's okay. You're not being overly loud, but you could be quieter, it seems. Alright, so you are looking for Furzl, the rock. because it is a relatively well labelled place, because the cabinets have labels on them. I'm going to say that you have advantage on looking for this, which will cancel out your disadvantage. And so with your, that was cocked, with your 14 is enough. It isn't long before you find the cabinet next to the bookshelf that has all sorts of interesting sort of potion making ingredients and alchemical supplies in it. It's mostly minerals and things that he's used in more artificer kind of style things rather than alchemist style things. But you find one of them that is labelled Furzel, and it is a rock about that big, and it is a pale yellow. And as you open the cabinet and take it out, you sort of hold it up to the very low lantern light, and you can see that there's certain little elements of it that are sort of a very pale lilac. What do you want to do? Can we listen really carefully, see if we can still hear the sounds we heard when we woke up, the breathing, creeping laughter? Yeah, listen real carefully with your perception of 19 or with disadvantage 18. You listen real strong and you're pretty confident because you can hear the very, very, very faint crackle of the oil lantern. You can't hear the creepy sounds of you can't hear the creepy sounds of the breathing. You can't hear any sort of slathering. You put the Furzel in your pocket. Is there anything labelled antidote under A or poison antidote under P? Unfortunately not, no. There's several rocks that you don't necessarily recognise. Let's roll an alchemy check or a arcana check to see. With an 11 or a natural 20, so an 11, you recognise a couple of them from your wife's work, but not a lot. Like that, you don't know the alchemical properties of many of these things. You know that some of them are things that you notice one called Symbatrin, and you notice another one that's called Mugwort. These are potion ingredients in my game. Look around to see if there's anything suspicious looking, furniture tossed or stuff. Doesn't seem like it, no. Everything seems like it's in order, like a regular house would be. Leave our money in the Furzel's place so the wizard knows we haven't just stolen the thing. Leaving money's a good idea. Thumbs up, thumbs down for leaving money where you took the Furzel from, in case you can use it as a transaction, essentially. To be pedantic from a law perspective, Sparrow, if you take something without the owner's consent and they have not agreed to a transaction, even if you leave money in its place, it is still stealing. It's an illusion. There's always some mess in a real household. Alright, and with an overwhelming yes, you think, I don't want to steal this stuff. So you take out several coins, as much as you've got. Let's say you've got like 8 silver and a gold. And you put a gold and 8 silver there, and you're like, I can't afford any more than that. But like, if it's more than that, then I'll pay for it later. And you take the Furzel. Call for help. Excavate everything by professionals. Sell the info to the kingdom. You're trying to compensate the guy, which shows intent, which is good. It shows morality and ethics, but from a legal standpoint, you're still stealing. It's at this moment that you hear a from somewhere outside the window, and then there is a crack of thunder. The weather was overcast before, but it was not thunderstorm level. Then you start to hear the howling become more like a yelping. Crouch under the window and peer outside. It's at this moment that, yes, you realise that Jacques was with you and was right behind you as you entered the house, but is not there now. You don't see him around. There is something, a whimpering from outside. You peer out the window and you see there is a thunderstorm rolling in. And then you hear a creaking from upstairs. Like 2 floors up, there is a bed, and you hear bed springs shifting as though someone is in bed and getting out of bed. What do you want to do? Yell hello, hide, run away bravely, jump out the window, look up the ladder, hide, call out. Lots of options. Let's put it to a poll. What to do? Hide, call out, run away. Investigate. Go deeper into the house. Investigate up the ladder or anything like that. Stay inside but don't speak. Call out for help. Hold your ground. Yell Peore. Does it look like the wizard has been respecting the sacrifices to Kolak? There's no real way of telling that. He might have been sacrificing things in his own right. He might have been burning things that are valuable to him in the fire. He might have just been fasting. Most people tend to fast during Calabran. Alright, with 62% of you deciding call out, you shout, Peore! I'm in the house. I didn't know that you were home, but I need to speak with you. I'm having bad visions. There is immediately a presence behind you. Something grabs a hold of you from behind. You're still downstairs. But something grabs you from behind and sort of restrains your arms, pins them to your chest, and then you can sense a head sort of approaches right over your ear, and you're pinned sort of looking forwards, and you can tell that something has grabbed you and pushed their head right next to your ear. And in Pierre's voice, it says, "You do not need to be here. Stop questioning. I would hate for something to happen to Scylla. Back off. Back off. I have worked too long for you to fuck this up for me now. Back off." And then it releases you, and you turn, and he is not there. There is no vision there. There is no creature there. We are cursed, quite possibly by the wizard himself. We need the Fuzzle, maybe. Try and wake up. Alright. With a wisdom saving throw. Nat 1. With a Nat 1 wisdom saving throw, you have convinced yourself, this is not real, this is not real, this is not real. And you close your eyes and you think for a second, wake up, wake up, wake up. And you open your eyes, and the scene has changed. But not for the better. You are no longer in your bed this time. You are no longer in the wizard's tower. But you are standing right outside of the wizard's tower. It is dark. Very dark. And you can hear Jacques whimpering in fear and pain. He is close by and he is in the tree line. What do? Pull out our sickle. Go find your dog. Do we have the Fuzzle? As you pull out your sickle, your hand brushes something in your pocket. You reach down to your belt to grab the sickle, and your hand brushes against something hard in your pocket. So as you run towards the tree line to go find your dog, find Jacques, your Jack Russell, your other hand goes into your pocket and pulls out a rock of Fuzzle. You have it still. And as you rush towards the house, as you rush away from the wizard's tower towards the woods, you hear the front door of the wizard's tower open, and the wizard says, "Thief!" And he shouts out from behind you and starts to chase. And as you rush into the woods, the sounds of Jacques running away from you, running deeper into the woods. You are chasing after him and running away from the wizard. You can't help but recognize that you're in a similar situation to the dream you had. You tell yourself to look out for cliffs. In the dream, you didn't have a rock of furzel in your hand and you didn't have a sickle in the other hand. So things about the dream are different. But you are running from the wizard. You've stolen from him and you are running towards the dog. You shout out as you run, "Stop, please! I need your help! This is a dream! I am dreaming and I cannot wake!" Can we stop? You stop, you turn, and you shout out to him. But as you turn, you should have only been like 3 trees deep into this forest. You ran not far before turning. But as you turn and put your hands up, there is no wizard's tower. There is no edge of the forest. There is just more forest. You are deep and dark in this forest. And there is a howling behind that is not from Jacques. It is some sort of higher pitched howling of a hunter of some kind. And then Jacques cries out in pain one more time and then falls quiet. You don't see the wizard, but you do hear where Jacques was. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up! You shout to yourself to wake up, wake up, wake up. And then you turn to run towards Jacques. Within 11, you're closing your eyes and opening them again, and you're just still in this forest. You can't seem to wake yourself from whatever this is. But it's not long before you find a ruins of sorts. It's a stone building. And around it is this fence, this larger fence. There is a symbol on the front of it with a religion check of a 16 or with exhaustion a 19. So with a 16 religion check, you recognize the symbol of a bear's head as being a god of hunting and beasts. What is his name? Altabris? Maybe Altamez, that's right. You remember the god Altamez, he's the god of hunting, and the symbol of this bear's head is on the front of this ruins. This stone building. Jacques' whimper came from within this somehow. You know that. Even though the last time you heard him was before you saw the building, you just seem to know this is where Jacques is. Cross 2 of our crossbow bolts before going inside. You, remembering with the 16 religion, you remember Altamez, one of his other symbols is that of a crossed arrows. In other cultures it's crossed arrows, so you grab out a couple of bolts and you cross them over each other and you say a little prayer to him. God of hunts, God of beasts, please protect my dog. Please bring him to me safely. Please lead me to him safely. Please prevent him from receiving any damage or harm. God of beasts, please, I ask you this. And then you place the bolts back in your crossbow quiver, I guess. What do you want to do now? Do you go inside? Go inside the place of worship of Altamez? Can we smell blood? No, there is no smell of blood. But you do hear other animals now. Not just that first one, but some kind of cawing. Some kind of twittering of sorts, or chirping, some kind of eeriness above the whistling of the wind through the trees. You light a torch and go inside. You take a torch out of your bag. You get the tinder box and you, with shaking hands, you spark up the torch. And you head inside the old ruins of this temple to Altamez, god of the beasts and god of the hunt. You walk inside and you see a scattering of rodents, vermin that were calling this place home undisturbed for who knows how long. There is a broken door that was once standing in the portal to this doorway and has since been shifted to the side, rotten away through age perhaps. You see rodents scatter to the walls. There is a swooping of something as it flies by, maybe chasing one of those rodents now that they've been scared into the open. There is a whimpering you can hear ahead. You get your sickle out in one hand and the torch in the other. There is a sudden from behind you, and as you turn there is this large animal that you've not seen before. It's a four-legged creature, looks almost like a large cat or a dog hybrid something. It's perhaps a mountain lion or a cougar, a panther of some kind perhaps. It's something. And it is advancing on a very frightened and bleeding Jacques. Jacques is in a bad way. He is not moving too much, but you can tell from his scampering, his scuttling, that he is trying to push himself away from this advancing, much larger predator. And as he's trying to push himself, he gets up against a wall and he can't go further. But this four-legged bipedal mammal of this quadrupedal mammal of sorts is advancing on your dog. You can also tell that the back of its neck, something is standing out. There is some kind of pulsating maggot. It looks to be about 4 inches long, and it is quite clearly attached at the base of this animal's neck. Whatever this puma is, whatever this thing is, it is latched onto this thing's spine, right at the base of the skull. And it is pulsating as it seems to control or suck the life of this creature. It seems to be ignoring you as it walks towards your dog. What do you want to do? Burn the maggot with the torch. Check her own neck for a maggot. Instantly your hand goes to your neck. Actually, you've got a sickle in one hand and a torch in the other, so you either stab yourself in the neck or you burn yourself. So you kind of, with your wrist, you kind of check your neck for maggot. You can't tell that there's anything there. Is it sort of wriggling a bit or stable on the neck? It seems like it's attached at one end of this maggot-like creature, and the other end is sort of pulsating slowly, like so. So you're torching the maggot, grabbing the maggot, cutting it off, doing something to it. Jump on the creature and stab the worm thing. Sickle it off, alright? So as you rush towards this maggot, as you rush towards this creature, I'm going to roll off your initiative checks. 7 or, with disadvantage, another nat 1. So with a nat 1 on initiative and a natural 9 for the bad guys, let's call them. The creature lunges forwards as you reach out with your sickle and you swing and miss. It seems to, with a nat 20, grab Jacques in its jaws. And with a sickening crunch and a final whimper, your dog goes limp. It seems like the bite of this creature was phenomenally strong. You hear the sickening snapping of bones and ribs, like crackling of leaves on a forest floor in autumn. But then you get to it, and you drive the sickle into the back of this thing's head, into the back of its neck, and cutting through fur and sinew and skin all at once, you cut a huge chunk with the sickle. You carve it like you are harvesting crops. You carve some of this maggot and skin and sinew from the back of this creature, and the creature immediately yelps in pain, drops your dog, and falls unconscious beside it. There is a sickening wriggling of this thing as it seems to have lost its host, and then it goes limp in your hand. What do you want to do? Crush it into nothing. You crush this thing with your hand. You've dropped your torch in order to have a hand free, and you crush this maggoty thing. It seems to stop moving. If this is a dream, we might be able to control some things. Can we wish away the maggot? Let's try and make a wisdom saving throw to see if you can overcome, if this is a dream or not, the dream. That is a 19. With a 19, you crush this thing and open your hands and it disappears. In fact, the room around you starts to disappear too. The body of your dog goes. The creature, this four-legged mammal of sorts, disappears. The room starts to disappear. In these last few moments of lucidity, what do you want to do? Scan the room. The room seems familiar somehow. This room of this once abandoned temple seems like your bedroom. And in these last moments of lucidity, you scratch your arm. You take your sickle and scratch into the wrist of your arm, and then you are thrust back awake, but paralyzed once more. As this time, the odd redness of the eyes of whatever it is in the shadows is no longer just in the shadows, but is instead sitting directly on your chest. You are sitting in your bed, lying down, with your eyes pointed fixedly at the ceiling. As your eyes adjust to the darkness of the room, you see this horrible figure, this creature with a crooked nose and glowing red eyes, ragged hair down one side of the face, and burned scalp across one side. It seems to be malformed and misshapen, as one arm is much thicker and bigger than the other. And it is slowly stroking the sides of your face as you wake. As it laughs, you try to find your voice, you try to call, but you are paralyzed in fear. And as you lay there beneath it, barely able to breathe, you focus your willpower on telling yourself it's a dream again. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And you open your eyes again and she's gone. The room is still. You're in your bed. You look around the room, now able to move your neck, to move your hands. You swing your legs out of bed and sit up. You turn and immediately see that your wife Scylla is beside you still sleeping. You head to the front of your room and call out, "Jacques! Jacques, here boy!" And there's a moment of silence before there is a scuffling of sound of material, and then claws on wood, and then padded feet start to come to the bottom of your steps, and looking up at you, your little dog with its little happy eyes, clearly sleeping until you called its name. Arr! Lets out a little yelp. Wake Scylla and ask what day it is. You go back into the room and shake your wife awake gently. What is it? You hurt yourself again? Again? Did I hurt myself yesterday? Yes, you woke me yesterday morning saying that you hurt your arm. Are you okay? And she tries to sit up again. What day is it? It should be the same. It should be Sinta Day. It should be Sinta Day, the 16th of Colabron. My sweet, it's the last day. We can manage one more. You have sacrificed so much. Kolak will be appeased. Eat something. You need your strength. Kolak will be appeased. You need to eat. Check your neck. You reach your hand round the back of your neck and you can feel your neck. No leech, no parasite, no nothing. You put your hand under your wife's neck as well, just in a sort of comforting way, but secretly checking to see if there's anything there. Nothing. Nothing on her neck. Check your pocket for Fuzzle. There's nothing. So we never agreed to invite your parents over. Yeah. I have a bad feeling about the rest of this day. Let's just stay in bed. Scylla, have you been having any weird dreams? No, not really. Close your eyes for a few moments, see if she's still there when you open them. With a nat 1. You open your eyes, everything seems the same. Check your ink mark on your arm, you look down to where your ink was, and it's still there. You marked yourself with ink, and it's still there where it was. Is the sickle mark there? It is not. Where you scratched yourself with a sickle, it is not there. Are we wearing pajamas? No. You check yourself, there's no furzle. You check the pants that you were wearing, and there's no furzle in them. A day has gone past, did it count as rested? Absolutely not. Quite the opposite, in fact. You are more exhausted now than you were. How about this one? It seems like a weird dream. What's happening, Scylla? This can't be real. You know it can't be real. In this moment, as you're starting to question things, the wizard's voice appears in your head again, sort of wispy and echoey, and it repeats as it did before. Back off. I will not ask you again. Is a hand burned? It is. Do you have the Scarecrow scratches? You do. But they seem like they're healing. Check under the bed. Nothing under there other than the storage that you put under there. Check the mirror. You go to the bathroom, you splash water on your face from the bucket. You look into the mirror and you can see, even worse than yesterday, you look like death warmed up. You look like you're on the verge of death. You are exhausted. You are gaunt, thinner than you've been in a long time. Back off what? I will back off if you meet me and tell me what's going on. As you say this, your face in the mirror starts to distort, your beard grows longer and greyer, and your eyes less sunken. And the wizard, before long, is looking back at you from the mirror and says, I am not negotiating with you. You will not ruin my plans for this town, but I will do you a kindness. Leave the feast tomorrow alone, and I will instead leave you and your wife out of it. That is as far as my kindness will stretch. Do not push me further. And he shifts away back into yourself. What do you want to do? Okay, fine, let's go to bed. Alright. Going to bed, yes or no? Like trying to get back to sleep, you're exhausted. Try and get back to sleep, yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down. You're a simple farmer, not a hero. It might be a good deal. Make an ink mark on Scylla before sleeping. Ah, okay. You head to get your ink and find that you are out. of ink. You did not steal any from the Wizard's Tower, and you did not steal or buy any from elsewhere. It seems that your losing ink yesterday was part of reality, or a continuation into this dream, if indeed you are dreaming. Tie yourself up and go to sleep. Interesting. Take a piece of coal and mark her instead. You go back into the room and find her asleep once more, and you gently wake her again. Oh, honey, I need to sleep. I know, sweetheart. I just need to tell you that we should stay home from the feast tomorrow. With the seasons changing, there'll be plenty of time to celebrate. But neither of us are well, and we should not be around people. Okay, if you think that's best, but I think you need to eat, sweetheart. Have you taken the medicine? You don't remember if you've taken the medicine or not? Take another dose. Take a dose of the medicine that she's giving you, yes or no? No medicine, but say that we did. Alright. I took some medicine. I don't want to take any more. I'm already on a double dose. Alright, my sweet. Eat some food and then try to rest. Ask Scylla what the medicine's for. You would know that it's a sort of the opposite of stimulant. What are they called? It's a depressant. It is meant to put you into a less it's kind of like anxiety medicine. Go downstairs, grab some bread. You take some bread. You notice that as you go to the bread bin, there is bread wrapped up sitting next to it as well. You open the bread bin and see that there's half a loaf in there still. Maybe a day old. And then there are 2 other loaves in there that are less than that. Eat some bread. You eat some bread. You wear a loaf as a hat before you go back to bed. Just do something ridiculous to see if you're still doing it when you wake up. Could do. Wait till she's sleeping again, find a similar bottle, fill it with water, and hide the actual medicine and replace it with the fake bottle. I'm imagining this medicine like, what is it called? The stuff that stains really badly, that's like really disgusting to gargle, but you're not meant to swallow it, like the iodine. I imagine it like iodine, like a thick sort of thing like that. So hiding it with water is not going to be super easy, but like it is a dark reddish brown bottle, so you can't necessarily tell that it's water until you actually take it out. But as soon as you take any medicine out of it, you'll tell that it's water and not iodine. But you can still do so. You take a couple of slices of fresh bread and butter it up, and you eat it. Serious about the bread hat. When we wake, I want to know where that bread ends up. Fair enough. You take a piece of bread, the crust. You carve out some of like a bread bowl for soup. You take a little bit of it and you wear it kind of like a yarmulke. And you think, if I do something crazy, maybe it triggers the dream to reveal itself as a dream, or maybe it's still there when I wake and I can start to ascertain which is which. You head back to bed and you start to rest. You get back in bed and sleep. It's only a few hours before the sunlight is shining in through the window enough to wake you again. And you wake without issue. You don't recall having dreamt anything. It was the first time you've slept in a while. You reach up and check the head. There's no bread there, but you look over to the pillow. There's definitely breadcrumbs around it. And on the floor, there is a little bread yarmulke that is obviously fallen off in the night. You look down at your head. You've got, down at your hands, you've got scratch marks that are healing. You have an ink mark that has not been washed off. Your back, you can tell from moving that, ouch, there's some painful shoulder blade injuries in there. Your wife is sitting up in bed and reading at this point. You are awake, finally. You obviously needed the rest. You're looking better. She reaches over and touches your face. You're looking better, but still need to rest today. To hell with the sprouts. They can, if we're not going to the feast anyway, they can do without sprouts at the feast. You don't need to harvest them. Just relax. Is the background noise sound effects or your house? It's my house. It's my house. I arranged for a lot of wind today for the ambience. Is she still unwell? Yeah. She can get up and walk around, but she gets exhausted very quickly. It's kind of like, is it MS? That's like that's sort of drains you of all energy, and it makes it really difficult to get to the end of the day without resting a lot. So she's not like what's the word? She's not paralyzed from the waist down or anything. So it's not that respect of bed rest, but she can't really leave the house. Chronic fatigue syndrome, yeah, kind of like that, but different. Is she touching her face like the paralysis demon did? She is actually, yes, very similar. But then again, there's only so many ways that you can stroke a face. So as she strokes your face, your mind does go to paranoia of maybe ME. That's what I'm thinking of, not MS. The wife is touching her face too much. It's suspicious, perhaps. So what do you want to do on this morning? It should be the night. It should still be the last day of Calabran. The wizard has indicated that he's doing something with the feast tomorrow and that you are ruining his plans. The Furzel should have been used to fix your wounds. The healing potion should have just straight up healed them, but it didn't, which indicated that you are either cursed or poisoned in some way, and the Furzel is to help prevent that poison or toxin. Finish the bread. Yeah, you reach down, you pick up the bread hat that you made yourself and just nibble on that. You need as much strength as you can, need some sort of food in you. Does her finger smell like anything when she strokes her beard? Make a perception check, I guess, with disadvantage because you're still exhausted. That is a 3 or an 8. With a 3 perception, you can't smell anything on her finger now. Use your wife's help to make a Furzel anti-potion poison curse thing. You mention this to your wife. My arms, did I come home with the Furzel? And she says, what Furzel? And you say, I got Furzel from the wizard tower to fix my arm. And she says, why would you need Furzel to fix your arm? There's just potions. And you say, we talked about this. You said that the potion didn't work. Why would the potion not work? Have you tried it and it didn't heal? Have we not had this conversation? Not to my knowledge, no. You get up and leave to go to the medicine cabinet, and you see that there are 2 potions in there. I had one of these. I drank one of these yesterday. Okay. But it didn't. I haven't made any since I've been bedridden, so those are the last of it. I can try and make you another, but why are they? What does Furzel do? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. What is Furzel? What is You told me to get Furzel. Sweetheart, maybe you are not rested enough. Maybe we should send someone to get the cleric from the next town. Is Furzel not a thing? It's a yellow rock it's like pale yellow, and you try and explain it as best you can. She says, I don't know what that is. It sounds a little bit like sulfur, but it shouldn't be purple, I don't think. Like sulfur, what would sulfur be used for? Sulfur can be used for lots of things. What? Why would you find sulfur to... Sulfur cannot fix your arms. Just take a potion, my sweet. Insight. Alright. With an 18, or with disadvantage because of exhaustion, a 19, actually even better. It seems your wife is telling you the truth, that she doesn't know what Furzel is. It seems that perhaps you dreamt the entire thing, the entire interaction with her. She's not giving you indication that she's lying or hiding anything. Do we still have it? You don't have it. You don't find it anywhere. It's not in any of your pockets. You go downstairs to the counter where you would have put it if you came in through the door and just put it down. It's not in the kitchen. It's not in the counters in the dining room or the living room. Is exhaustion gone? No. You've lowered it a level, but you still have a level of exhaustion at least. Insight on her insisting about taking the potions. I'll allow the 18 to carry over. It seems like the level to which she is insisting you take these potions is that of a concerned wife telling her husband to take medicine when he's sick. Like, she knows that her healing potions can heal, and you have wounds, so you should take a healing potion to heal them. Like, it doesn't seem like she is desperate for you to take them. She's just suggesting that it is smart to take one. That's what they're there for. The one thing that's persisting is the Scarecrow's wounds, yes. Check our money. We left some in exchange for the Furzel. You go to find where your money should be, and it is not there. You have a couple of copper pieces in your pocket, but your money store, in which you had about a gold piece and about 8 silver, it's no longer there. So the bread was bought, but the wizard's stuff isn't. Do you want to take one of the healing potions, yes or no? Is there any way to test the potions to see if they're healing potions? You can make an Arcana check on them, see if they are. You know that healing potions should taste and smell a little bit like vanilla. So you take a potion and with an Arcana check of a 6, it smells like vanilla and is the same sort of pale red colour that it should. You sniff it. Do healing potions ever go bad? She says, no, not in our lifespans, like not in that sort of time zone. Maybe after thousands of years, I don't know. I've not tested them, but they should still be fine. I only made those ones earlier this year. Do you want to drink it? Yes or no? Your check has revealed that, as far as you know, it is a regular healing potion. You have wounds on your back and your arm. Healing potions don't work on what she's got. Hers is an illness, a disease of sorts, not just hit points or damage. Ooh, we are divided in the mind as to whether to take this healing potion or not. So I'm going to put it to a poll, it seems, just so I can get an actual figure on it. Take the healing potion. Yes or no? 1 minute to decide. Refresh if you do not see the poll. We woke up today refreshed with no dream, so it should work. That's what Ray thinks. We need to know if the curse is still in effect, so take one anyway. And on the days that you have taken it and it hasn't worked, you've woken up and it's still there in the medicine cabinet, so it's a good chance that it's not wasted even if you are dreaming. Take like and drink it. Yes, do you take it? Do you drink it? You have it in your hand. You've smelt it. It smells like vanilla. It looks the right colour. It's moving with the same viscosity as a healing potion should. Take it or not? Like, drink it. Can we do a little scratch to see if it works as intended? Like to see if you're able to scratch yourself as intended? Or to see if the healing potion will heal as intended? With 63% saying yes. And with Sai's idea to make sure that it is actually healing what it should be healing. You take your sickle out, you go downstairs and you cut yourself. It's a relatively deep cut so that it's like a single point of damage essentially. And then you drink it back. Instantly the wounds on your arm and hand, your wrist, the new wound, the old wounds, the Scarecrow's wounds, and the wounds across your back, all seem to heal up. They leave behind scars, but they are healed. You are back to full hit points. Do they reopen after a few moments? No, they don't reopen. What I will say, though, is that you still feel ill. You still feel unwell. You feel wasted. You feel exhausted. Your gauntness, your muscle wasting, your exhaustion, none of that is affected by hit points. All of that is other stuff. And so you are not at 100% of what you should be, but your wounds are closed. Is this the work of the wizard leaving us alone now? Perhaps, yeah. Are we still feeling good, or do we look like a zombie? You still look fucked. You still look exhausted, yeah. More bread? You eat some more bread. The bread that you saw last night before you made a bread hat, it's still there. Like, all of the bread is still there. It's at this point that there is a knock on the door. And do you want to answer it or no? Grab a knife, peer out the window. You can see it's a younger fella from town, like a teenage boy. Who is it? It's Simone. What do you want, Simone? Can I come in? Scylla and I are a bit sick at the moment. Okay. Well, I just wanted to see if you needed help bringing the crops for the feast tomorrow. We are starting to prepare in the town. Decorations are starting to go up, and people are bringing out the trestle tables to the center of town. If you want to come and help. Simone, the sacrifice kid. I mean, the neighbor's kid. What do you say to him? We're not feeling up to the feast tomorrow. What? You're going to miss the feast of St. Alban? You need it more than anyone. I can help wheel your wife into town if you want to. We have one of those wheelless chairs. No, I don't. We're sick. You better stay away from people. You're too unwell, and we will not be attending. So will we not have any of your crops, any of your food? I can help you harvest. You can have the sprouts if you need them. You will have to harvest them yourself. You know where they are? I know where they are, yes. Have you seen Peore the wizard in town? No? He has not been in town for a few days now. Why? Okay, hey, when you go to the crops, just watch out for the Scarecrow. You think I'm afraid of your Scarecrow? I'm not 6 anymore. No, I know. I mean that. I'm not joking. It is. I'm okay. Thank you, Simone. Are you sure you're okay? There's some weird things going on. This feels weird. Can I just come in? I don't like shouting through the door. No, I don't think that's smart. The Scarecrow is like it is. Peore enchanted it to attack if people are there to steal things. So just be careful around it. Hey, okay. So many weird things. This is strange. Okay, I will go and harvest your crops for you. Can I get paid for this? Is this? Yes, I will pay you for your work, of course. Okay. Also, maybe you could get me some ink and leave it on the porch. You want ink? I'm out of ink. Yes, I need ink from the bookbinders or the general store. I will need you to pay me for the things. What other weird things are happening, you said? Well, someone attacked the menagerie last night. What's that? The menagerie. The place of worship of Altemes. It got attacked last night. One of the animals got harmed. Why? What? Which animals? Harmed how? I'm I don't remember the name of it. It was it's one of the ferocious ones. The hyenas, I think. Hyenas? It's like a cat, I think. What? Like a large cat. It was like a I think they call it a hyena. How was it injured? They're saying that it got skinned. It got skinned? Did it have something on the neck? I don't know. I didn't say it was the neck. How do you know it was the neck? It was skinned on the neck. It was a guess. I think that, like, if you are skinning something, you are deception check, 15 or 8. Then 8 deception. You're like, if you are skinning something, you start with the neck usually. So I assume like maybe that was okay. He just goes silent for a second. What do you say? Is there anything else you want to say to Simone? You said there were weird things happening. Is that the only weird thing? I'll make an insight check for you. With an 11 or a 12, so an 11, you get a moment of hesitation from him, as if Simone is finding this interaction to be one of the weird things, and he is now, because of some things that you've said, a little bit more wary about telling you information. That's what you pick up on. But then he says, yes, someone broke into Pierre's tower. Someone broke into Pierre's tower? When was this? I don't... yesterday, I think. Okay. Did they... Is Peore okay? Well, as I say, I haven't seen him in a few days. He is out of town, I think. I'm just... I'm not feeling well, Simone. Just ignore my ramblings. I'm sorry, I haven't slept in several days. Be careful out there, okay? They left an oven mitt with your name on it. No. Let's try and wake up. I feel the other time was real and this is dream world. Alright, with a wisdom check. And because it's a check, not a save this time, that is a disadvantage, which is a 4 or a 9. So a 4, you close your eyes, you sort of slump against the door with your back to the front door, talking to Simone through it. You close your eyes and just think, am I dreaming? Is this a dream? You wake your eyes up again and everything's the same. Did they steal anything from the tower? The officers are saying... not the officers. Or it might be the officers. They don't have Knights of Krivosna here. The people are saying that nothing was taken, but... how much would this kid know? People are saying that they don't think anything was taken, but his door was open. Like it was just open? Maybe he left it open. No, it was broken open. They were saying it was smashed. Like the front handle was smashed off and the door was open. Was anything left behind? You didn't smash anything? Not to your recollection, no. Can we take 20 on this wisdom check? You would have to take 20 minutes, and currently you're in a conversation with a guy, so no. But after you're done with this interaction with Simone, you can take 20 to sort of try and wake yourself up if you want. I should like to talk to Peore. Do you know where he is? I don't know anything. Why aren't you coming out? Like, what? I should probably get on with it. I've got the feast to prepare for, and if I have to now harvest your crops as well, you only smashed a maggot, yeah. Anything, the more that we ask, the more suspicious we become. Yes, because you asked about, have you seen Peore, before he announced that Pierre's was broken into, and then you asked about the neck before he announced that was where this creature was skinned. I have to go to bed now, I'm ill. Take care. I'll see you in a few days. All right. I will get payment for this. Yes, I will pay you. Okay, just take care. I don't want to risk passing anything contagious to you, okay? So you leave the kid to leave. Now what do you want to do? Stay inside? Head out and try and find answers? Take 20 on trying to wake yourself up? No worries, if we're the monster, it's not going to kill us. Yeah. Sleep. Step 1, wake up. Step 2, sleep. I'll try and wake up and then try and sleep. Should we get paid for our crops that are going to the festival? Probably yes. You'll probably pay him for harvesting from the money you're getting from the town for providing the food. Check on Scylla if she's still asleep. Dose her with the medicine. Interesting. Try and wake up. Try and stay inside. Play some games with the wife. Make a nice cuppa and sit back. Yell at the kid working too slow from inside. Gear up and head out towards the wizard. Alright, let's put this to a poll. What to do? Head out and investigate. Head to the wife. Try wake up. I think those were pretty much the 3 options that were coming up often. Have a beer and wait for this to blow over. We're not heroes, let the town do their thing. We're not well, we need more sleep. We were warned. Halloween Twitch Tales, where we're the protagonist and antagonist at the same time. Could be. I feel like Granny Ghost was warning of us what was going to happen to the village. Granny Ghost may have been warning you about what was happening to the village. There was some sort of plague coming, some sort of danger to the town, something that was going to happen soon, she kept saying, something like that. Your loved ones are in danger, the people you care about are in danger. She was hinting at something to that respect. Every choice here feels like the wrong one. Then I'm doing my job as a horror storyteller. Chances are we are becoming the village nutter and we're not going to get any clearer. 47% of you trying to wake up and 42% of you heading back to the wife. You just take a second. You try your best to wake up. Wisdom check. With a 10 or a nat 1, you sit down. I'm going to say that you take 10 on this, so you can, instead of taking that 1, you can just take 10, like you take 10 minutes. I would say take 20, but it was 47% to 42%, so you didn't have a majority of people. So I'm gonna give you some compromise here. You take 10 minutes instead of 20 to just sort of sit down and try and wake yourself up. And after it doesn't work, after nothing happens, you get up and go to the room with Scylla instead. You get there and find that she's awake and sitting up in bed. She looks concerned. She looks worried. She says, What was that about? You don't look well. Why are we avoiding this feast? I was looking forward to it. It's the first of Sinterbrand tomorrow. What do you tell her? Why are we avoiding this feast? Do you lie to her and say it's just because we're both unwell? Or do you tell her the truth, that the wizard warned you to not go to it? Tell her the truth? Okay. The truth? Semi-truth? The wizard... Peore has twice now, whether in my dreams or real I don't know, but Peore has twice now warned me to stay away from the feast. He has warned me to stay away from the feast because he is doing something to it and I am ruining his plans and he won't allow it. And he said if I stay away, he will keep whatever he is doing away from me and away from you. You cannot be seriously considering it because of the threats of a madman. If he's going to kill our friends, our family, Mr. Quatre, Sandra, they will all They will all perish. Simone, you have seen him since he was a baby. You would let them all die at the feast because you had... I never thought my husband was a coward. Please, I don't... He will stay away from us if we leave it alone. You said sulfur, right? I heard you say to the boy that someone had broken into his house. And before you said that you went to his house and found sulfur. If he is controlling you to do things for him, then maybe he is turning it into a poison. There are uses for sulfur, and she reaches over to like a chest of drawers that's opposite, that's next to her side table, and she opens one up and gets out a book. And she says the uses of sulfur and poisons are many, but it is almost always linked to the abyssal and demonic nature. He is obviously trying to do something of a demonic nature if he's using sulfur in his potions. Okay, it is an easy fix to make. I have some potions already made that can be prepared to counteract the nature of his poisons. If he is poisoned in the feast, it will be simple enough to just go to it. He said stay away from the feast, right? It's the only way to poison everyone in town all at once is that feast. I cannot do it myself, you know that, but if you add this antidote to the potion, the poisons, then you can save our friends. I don't know what's real anymore. This is real. This is real. She reaches out for your face. Do you pull away? Pull away. You pull away and don't allow it to touch your face. She says, my sweet, what is happening? Why are you acting this way to me? Please. Please, we are so close to the end of the season. Please, just... We can be merry with people tomorrow. We can... Please. I just need you to add this antidote to the feast, and then all will be well. Do you know where to check if something is poisoned? Not other than smelling it and tasting it and seeming like, ugh, that seems gross. The problem, Scylla, I don't know if you're real. If you're telling me the truth, or if you're telling me this so that I'm the one poisoning them all with sulfur. She looks at you, utterly hurt. And she says, How do I defend myself against something like that? What, I'm not real? She takes a letter opener from the side of the bed. If I'm not real to you, then my life is no meaning anyway, so what use is this? And she takes the letter opener and she slits the tip of her finger against it. And she says, do I not bleed? Do I not bleed like you? Do I not speak? Do I not breathe? Maybe you are not real. And she hands you the letter opener. Maybe you are the one not real. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. I just don't know what's real or imagined anymore. Please stop, Scylla. Cut our finger too. You get the letter opener and you cut yourself. It hurts. And you bleed. And she says, Perhaps together we are real. And she reaches out and takes your hand. And then she smiles. And she says, you were so close. So close to figuring it out. And she wipes her thumb across the blood from your finger. And then she puts her hands up. And I need a wisdom saving throw from you. Ooh, that was a nat 1. Perfect time. Thank you, dice, for telling the story with me. You go paralyzed again, just like you were when you woke up. She reaches out and strokes your face, and as she does so, her hands touch your face before her hands seem to touch your face. because her fingers start to elongate as the illusion drops, and her long fingers with more bones in them than there should be scratch along the side of your cheek. And she says, "This is some of my best work." She looks at you with admiration, and she says, "I've never managed to convince someone that they were married before. Your memory's with me." And she strokes with the back of her hand across you as her nose starts to grow longer and her eyes start to go slightly reddened, bloodshot, and different sizes. Her hair on one side of her head starts to fall out as this horrific burn takes over the side of her head, as she starts to resemble the grotesque hag that was sitting on your chest when you woke up in one of these paralysis dreams. Every memory. Every one of them. There is no Scylla. It's a pleasure to meet you, my friend. You may call me Priscilla. It was hard when you went to the baker. And she swings her legs out of the bed and she stands up, and this weight shifts from the bed of much more than her size would indicate. Her muscles growing down one arm, her body asymmetrical. It was hard when you went to the baker to make him reference you. Made easier by the fact he wasn't looking at you, so I didn't have to make his mouth move. You came so close. But now that you have me this, and she opens a drawer, and in it you see a patch of hyena skin and a rock of sulphur. With this and the blood of an innocent. She takes a chunk out of the sulphur rock, and then she dabs at her mouth with the hyena skin before rolling it up, and her neck starts to grow and elongate like a goulash sack of a frog. There's something churning in her neck as it seems to like bubble, as if she's creating some kind of a cauldron within herself. She then spits and drools out the side of her rotting mouth this greenish potion, and as she collects it in a vial, it seems to start green and acidic looking and then turns into this almost translucent clear liquid. Is Simone still outside harvesting? He is, yes. She says, now, I would have preferred to do this the proper way. It would have been more exciting for me to finish, but we sort of stumbled at the last hurdle, didn't we? She grabs your paralyzed hand and pulls it up and says, now I would like you to put this on the feast before people eat of it. And make sure that you're there when they eat it. I need a wisdom saving throw from you. A 6, unfortunately, is not enough, and you feel compelled to follow her orders as she casts suggestion on you. She drops the hold person and then walks with you around the house. As you leave the house, the illusion drops on the wall. The portrait of the two of you changes to a portrait of your parents. You head down the stairs and Jacques is terrified, his fur standing up on end. He's growling and backing away from this horrific hag lady that's coming down the stairs. She leads you to the door and opens it. And as you step out into the air, you see Simone maybe several hundred feet away. And you start to walk towards the town. against your own will, as if you are a passenger in your own head. You walk towards the town where they're setting up the feast. You see decorations, bunting, spread around. Some people call out and greet you, and you find yourself greeting them. You see Mr. Carter, the baker. He's bringing out buns and trays of croissants and muffins. You see the cobbler. She's laughing and joking with the candlestick maker. You get to the feast and, popping the top off this vial, you start to season the meat. The hunter has been busy and he's fetched something of a large nature. Some kind of hog, perhaps, that's been roasted to perfection. You season it from this vial, and then you find yourself throwing the vial, discarding it to the side. Your eyes rest on a poster that's been placed up against a nearby wall, and it refers to Priscilla's perfection potion. It's in this moment that you remember stories of there being a hag that lives nearby. An old woman who's a potion maker. Rumour has it she can fix anything. You don't remember why, but you remember being desperate enough to go to her. As people start to step forward and help themselves to the feast, you can't help but watch. The meat gets handed round and people partake. And then you stand and watch as one by one they start to hold their guts in pain. One by one they start to shake and convulse. You try to look away, and you see Priscilla in all her glory, hunched, misshapen, demonic in look, smiling at the side of the village as every one of them starts to burst from their skin, hyena-like fur from beneath, their jaws snapping open and growing longer, with their teeth bursting from the guns and sharpening into this hyena-like face, their arms growing longer. And you see birthed a troop of gnolls who look towards you, the only thing around that could be food, and they rush you. At this moment, your suggestion wears off. You have completed all that was asked of you. No longer forced to stay here by magic, but rooted to the spot in fear. You are torn apart, limb from limb, able to feel every moment of it. A huge pool of blood beneath you is the last thing you see, as your vital organs are eaten alive by gnolls. And then there is a darkness, and as you escape your body, your soul leaving to its next destination. I've got a different thing in mind for you, comes the hag's voice, and she holds out a small bag, and your soul drifts into it, and all goes black. Happy Halloween.
All hail the algorithm gods. Comment, like, and subscribe. Ooh,